Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Hayden Newberry Fishing. We are back in Illinois right now, actually. If you keep up with the channel, I have been in the middle of a move process. I actually was supposed to close on my house last week, and now it's tomorrow. Sold my camper in South Carolina. If you saw a couple videos where I posted, I was in campgrounds and stuff up there, staying in the truck. And now we're back here. It's been like 6 days or something like that since I posted a video, so figured we'd sit down today, talk to the camera a little bit. For those of you that have watched my channel and stuff for a while now, you remember all the episodes and stuff I was posting in the back of the camper. Hopefully we're gonna get something like that set up at the new house whenever I get moved into it here. But for now, I'm staying with some family here. I'm in the basement right now. Got my laptop set up right here. It's kind of out of the screen. But we're gonna talk about some interesting stuff today. Really not that far into the season, and we have our first, probably not the first, but the first one that's gotten popular cheating incident. So we're going to break it down. I just am going to start out with that I was totally on the guy's side that got caught until I read more into it, because there's so much under the surface on this one. If you read just a couple headlines or something, read the wrong ones, you'd probably be on his side too, because it initially doesn't sound that bad. But the more you dig, the more dirt comes up, and the worse it sounds for him. The worse of a situation it sounds like. So I'll tell you what I started out with, the information I started out with. I actually didn't start out with like seeing the video or anything like that. I actually had to dig up quite a bit for the video, and we'll get into that, why that probably was also. But initially saw an article on it, read a quick thing on it. It was kind of like, I think actually initially it was the Wired to Fish post that I read on it, that I'm going to tell you, I was like, sounds like kind of overkill to me. But I read more and more, and then I watched the video and I changed my mind 100%. But we're going to start out with, I'm actually not going to start you guys out with the Wired to Fish post. We're going to go straight to the tournament organization. Before I read that to you, I'm going to tell you the whole scenario here, because some people might not be familiar with what was going on and the rules behind it. So Tucker Smith is the guy that got disqualified. He was fishing on the open, or in the open, on Lake Eufaula. Eufaula is a big offshore lake. If you guys have seen the dispute from Kentucky Lake that happened, offshore stuff, offshore spots, a lot of times can lead to arguments and controversy and things like that. So Tucker and another angler in the tournament are fishing an offshore area. That is kind of the setup, lead up to this. There is a third person not in the tournament that gets in an argument with the person, not Tucker, that is fishing this offshore spot. They exchange words. This guy's obviously more angry than the guy in the tournament. The guy in the tournament actually kept his cool really well. After I watched the video, I was pretty impressed. This guy's threatening the guy in the tournament with all kinds of stuff, ruining his day, cussing him out, everything else. And Tucker over here gets disqualified for allegedly or apparently not reporting the argument over here. Now, that was why initially as a tournament fisherman, I was like, that's ridiculous, right? If I was fishing a spot and I saw another angler in the tournament get into an argument with a random dude, I mean, which people, you know, just say mean things to each other sometimes when they get cut off and stuff. I would never expect to get disqualified from a Bassmaster Open for witnessing it and like them arguing, which that was initially the way it was laid out. If you watch the video, it's very much more extensive than that. I initially thought that he witnessed an argument and got DQ'd. I was like, well, that's crazy. But the more you read about it, the worse it gets. So so Tucker disqualified this guy that argued with the other guy. Whole deal. What we're going to do is we're going to read some articles on this, because it makes it get a lot more interesting. I'll say that. I'm not gonna lean on stuff that's not fact, I guess, in this stuff that's not published, statements by Tucker, statements by Bass. Those are what I want to focus on. What Tucker's saying, what Bass is saying. Those are the two people that are really mixed up in this whole deal. Oh, excuse me. But there's more. There's more to it for sure. So I'm going to start out with Bass's statement here. This is Bass Communications, Bassmaster's statement on the incident. It's very short actually. This is the second paragraph of 3 paragraphs, all of them about 2 sentences long. This one's actually 1 sentence. The disqualification was handed down based on a violation of Angler Code of Conduct, and then in parentheses, Section 7 of Bassmaster Open Series Rules, in parentheses, which lists among the examples of unacceptable behavior by competitors in bass events, in quotations, interfering with a fellow angler's ability to compete. So, we'll leave that for a second and we're going to jump over. Just remember the quote that Bass left from the Angler Code of Conduct, that unacceptable behavior, that disqualification was handed down for a violation of unacceptable behavior, in quotations, interfering with a fellow angler's ability to compete. That was their quote for reason of disqualification. We're in the Wired to Fish statement now by Tucker Smith, published by Wired to Fish. These are quotes, quoting Tucker Smith. To be clear, I was disqualified because I did not report the situation to Bass officials. I was not disqualified for cheating in the event. I respect the sport too much to try and gain an edge by crossing lines. Those are 2 different statements made by the 2 people that are in the whole thing. Tucker saying one thing and Bass is saying a different one. That to me is kind of a big deal when you're talking about the disqualification process and everything with this. He's pretty much laying out that he was disqualified for not reporting an incident, and they are saying that he was disqualified for interfering. So now we're going to dig into that, because it alludes to the fact that a lot of the rumors surrounding this are true, because of Bassmaster's choice of words in their statement. Because the coding on everything, watch the video, makes it kind of lay out a little better for you. The guy that was there, pretty well protecting the spot, it seemed, didn't say anything to Tucker, was focusing all of his anger on this other angler, gives him a fake name, and says just kind of like whatever to Tucker and all that, gives him a fake name, that's actually fact, but then allegedly Tucker was staying with him on the lake. They knew each other. Just some really interesting things thrown in there. So why that would sound true, again, I'm not saying that this necessarily is 100% true, but it kind of alludes to it when Bassmaster says that he was interfering with a fellow angler's ability to compete. Based on Tucker's story, he wasn't. But the people that disqualified him from the tournament said that apparently there was enough evidence that he was interfering with somebody's ability to compete. So which that would also allude to the fact that maybe they knew that after doing a little research that maybe he did know that guy, and maybe he did know that that guy was protecting that spot for him. So we're going to jump over to a third organization with an article on this. This is actually Bass Fan. posted this. They had, I guess, done a little research on the man that was allegedly helping Smith. He, like I said, gave a fake name, was apparently angry at this other guy for fishing a spot there. I guess in the video it sounds like he was trying to be overly mad about him crowding him, pulling up on a spot, which if you ever fished a lake with a lot of offshore spots, that's absolutely not uncommon for multiple people to fish an offshore area. Anyway, this guy threatened to file a defamation lawsuits over the video. So this guy's apparently a lawyer, which might have been why it was so hard for me to find any footage of it when I started hearing about the articles going on. I actually haven't went back and looked. That was a few days ago. Very likely that you might not be able to find any video of it here soon, if this guy starts threatening everybody and actually has a leg to stand on. But we have really a little limited factual hard information on this thing. We've got a few articles posted, but there's a lot of people saying the same thing, and that is that that Tucker knew this guy and that he was staying at their house. So I'm gonna play, I guess, the other side of this, just a little bit of what if Tucker really didn't have a whole lot to do with this. So there is that other part of this whole situation, and that's what I wanted to, I guess, follow up a lot of this stuff with, is that pretty much the rule is that you have to report incidents, you can't have people hole set for you, things like that. So in a different side of things, so Tucker, maybe he didn't know that this guy was going to go out there and do this, and maybe it was just a situation, this guy's a hothead and he's crazy. So I've gone out in tournaments before in the morning and not really known where I was going to start at. Very possible that this was the same way for him. A lot of people that fish big lakes and stuff like that, you go down the lake and maybe you think of one spot, you go to a different one, something like that. So this other guy wasn't fishing the tournament. Maybe Tucker was staying at his house, and the guy goes out fishing. Tucker doesn't know he's going to go out fishing that day. And so Tucker goes out, starts on this spot. Dude shows up, starts arguing, and Tucker's over there, doesn't know what to do other than just keep to himself and try to act like he doesn't know the guy. Which, I can say personally, if I was Tucker and I had a friend that showed up on the spot and started arguing with somebody else in the tournament, I would have told them to leave and don't do that. And then I would have been very confused when he gave the guy a fake name. So I don't know if it's even possible that that's true. I mean, that would be the perfect scenario for him, but it doesn't sound that way. He should have known at that point in the tournament that this was probably not gonna end well. But to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I guess we'll do that because Bass issued a statement that's pretty, I mean, open to interpretation, truthfully. They don't really say what he actually did that interfered, which I feel like would have helped things in the public eye maybe a little bit. But I also see their side of this, that they probably don't want this to blow up into a weights and fish situation, which it's probably kind of already blown up that much. I'm sure that you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that hasn't heard about this currently. But doesn't look good. Doesn't look good for Tucker, because all signs point to that he knew the guy and that it was a little bit orchestrated. But again, benefit of the doubt situation, he needs to find different friends, and this guy's nuts. So I don't know. I personally think that we are not done hearing about this. I think that the more, especially with according to Bass Fan, this guy going around threatening people with lawsuits and stuff, that that might have suppressed some of the information and once that's worked out, you might hear more, or this guy's gonna use his law degree to keep this hush hush, and nobody will ever really know. But I'm just giving what information I can give and trying to help interpret what's going on. But it doesn't look good. Of course, we're only like a month into the tournament season, and all of a sudden now we've got our first major cheating incident. I'm sure it won't be our last, so we'll maybe talk more about this when more information comes out. But thanks for watching the video, guys. Stay tuned. See you on the next one.